Let's be real about one thing. When's the last time Khamzat's been in a boring fight? He's never been in a boring fight. He went in there and dominated the champion and had no reason to change the game plan. Many hot takes pertaining to this fight in the aftermath. I said it on Saturday with Pete Carroll on our post-fight show. I feel just as strongly about it on Monday. Less than 48, 36 or so hours later. To me, that was entertaining. And I'm not doing the, hey, this Apex card is really great, and if you don't appreciate it, a card filled with a bunch of guys who are 6-1 that you've never heard of coming off Contender Series, you're not a real fan. You're not hardcore. You don't appreciate MMA. You're just a casual. I'm not doing that thing. When you have a challenger come into a title fight and absolutely dominate the way in which he did, when you have a guy that we've been talking about for 5 years, 5 years we had been talking about this guy being champion, ever since his debut. When he rolled through his first fight and then came back 10 days later, we've been talking about this being inevitable. I was trying to think, there have been guys that have come in with a lot of promise, guys that have come in with a lot of hype, big signings. I don't know if since someone's debut, who wasn't necessarily a big signing from another organization, did we ever say, yeah, this guy's going to be champion. It's just a matter of when. And as I've said a million times over the past week, I thought it would be by the end of 2021, and I was being very conservative when I said that. He debuted in July of 2020. I was being very conservative, saying this guy's going to be champion in at least one division, because remember, it was first 170, then 185, by the end of 2021. But then the COVID thing happened, and then the retirement thing happened, and then he came back, and then he couldn't make weight, and then he had visa problems. A whole host of things happened. And oh, by the way, when he fought, a narrative started to develop that if a fight with him went past the first round, he'd be in shambles. Just ask Gilbert Burns. Just ask Kamaru Usman. Past the first round, this guy is in shambles. So that's why, as I was watching on Saturday, the first time Khamzat not only fights for a belt, but amazingly, considering the run that he had been on, the first time that he main evented a UFC show. Has there ever been a star like this? And whether you like him or respect him or not, you have to acknowledge the fact that this guy is a superstar. Has there ever been a star like this who had not headlined leading up to his first title fight? He had been on some big cards before, big opportunities, but never in that main event slot. Him coming in there and dominating DDP off the jump every single round. There were some moments of hope there in the fifth round for Dricus, but let's be honest, it was pretty much one-way traffic throughout. And then you're starting to think, okay, what happens in the third? What happens in the fourth? Because it is tiring to take a man down and hold him down, believe it or not. What happens when it gets into those championship rounds? And DDP being so awkward, being so unconventional, unorthodox, all those words, you always kind of felt, or at least I did, I always felt like, okay, he would have a moment. And he had a couple of those, as brief as they were in the fifth round. I was locked in. There have been way worse title fights than that one. Like the hysteria over this fight. Is this going down as my fight of the year? Absolutely not. Is it on the short list? No. But I was locked in and I enjoyed it. And in addition to all of that, let's be real about one thing. When's the last time Khamzat's been in a boring fight? So this thing, like I put up on the YouTube page, describe Khamzat in one word. Boring, 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 boring. When's the last time this guy's been in a boring fight? Was the Whitaker fight boring? No, of course not. Were his two first the fights at the beginning of the run boring? Was the Gerald Meerschaert fight boring? Was the Usman fight boring? Was the Gilbert Burns fight boring? Even that one, not boring. Kevin Holland, boring? None of these fights were boring. He's never been in a boring fight. He went in there and dominated the champion and had no reason to change the game plan. Dricus gave him no reason to change the game plan. And you know what? I left that fight obviously blown away by the dominance, but also gaining a new level of respect for Dricus. Never quit, had a smile on his face, was telling his team, I got him, showed true fighting spirit. I believe Dricus and his team when they say he's going to come back better. And even if he never becomes champion again, No one predicted this. Anyone who tells you that they predicted Dricus to come over from KSW and become UFC champion is an absolute liar. No one thought this would happen. No one thought that he would have this kind of run. Be 1,000% honest with yourself. You did not see this coming. Perhaps your respect for him grew over time, but when he walked into the UFC, you did not see this coming. No one was predicting it. Even the guys who watch every single KSW fight. And he had great success there as well. So I actually felt like he represented himself and his team and his country very well. He met a locomotive. He met a guy who right now might just be, I'm not putting him number one pound for pound because he hasn't done enough, but in terms of pure dominance, might just be the closest thing that we've seen to like prime Brock Lesnar when he just went in there and steamrolled people in a much different way. Don't get me wrong. But there you have it. 15-0 in MMA, 9-0 in the UFC. Clearly, the visa stuff has now been taken care of. The big question is, can he be active? Can he be a fighting champion? Last few years, he's fighting once a year, give or take a month or two. That can't happen as champion. I always felt that they were reluctant to give him the title shot until they got his visa stuff sorted or until President Trump became President Trump again, 47. You can't have a champion who can't fight in North America. That's been sorted, clearly. Now he has to fight, I'm not saying he has to fight Volkanovski type of activity, but like twice a year, at least. Can't fight once a year as a champion. I know some guys have gotten away with it lately, but I don't think that's ideal for anyone involved. So he was asked about Abu Dhabi. I don't know. Him and Tom on the same card, not sure about that. Seems like someone you want to keep for Paramount Plus. Those cards are now set. There's the December pay-per-view Volkanovski campaigning for that one. That could happen, I suppose. But things need to be sorted at 185 as well, and we'll get into all of that. Bottom line, though, this idea that he is a boring fighter is insane. That just says, I'm not saying you're a casual if you say that. I'm just saying you probably have never seen him fight before. Like, he's 9-0 in the UFC. He had one fight that you may deem boring. The other 8, there's nothing boring about them. So it might have been your first time watching him, which is, all right, cool, welcome. Welcome to the party. And number 2, I felt like I was locked in throughout because of the pure dominance, which you rarely see that in a title fight, because of how, Dricus seems to pull things out of his back pocket, because of the fact that it seemed like it was going into the championship rounds and we were all wondering how he would look in the championship rounds. And I wanted to see if he would gas out, and he didn't. It delivered. Thanks for watching this video. Before you go, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button for us. Also, give us a thumbs up, leave a nice comment. These things go a long way. And while you're here, do check out the rest of the channel. We've got live shows and full interviews, clips, and a whole lot more. We're doing big things here, and we appreciate your support very much.